Oh, yes. Good morning, good morning. Kind of, back in the day, it would have been, I think, considered un-American to boo Hulk Hogan. Chat room's first topic of discussion is the alleged booing of one Terry Bollea last night on the new Netflix Monday Night Raw. Let me stop my music there. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good morning, good morning. Let me give everybody some love. The first people in here. Big Doug, SJ, Riki's here. Duncan is here. Shred Bear, what up? EJ, hello, my friend. I will kiss your face, EJ. Tracy Claus, Eric, what up? Which is SJ. Keyed Up BDM. Kupo's here. Carolyn is here. What up, Carolyn? Shell 69. I got keyed up. Wizard Cat, one of the greatest names. Well, hi, everybody. It's good to see you guys. We are warming up to we got a guest. We got, God, my belt buckle's digging into my fat. We got a guest this morning. We're going to see how this goes. When we interviewed this particular gentleman last year, he hit me up and said, like, hey, how about a free Zany Report weekly? And I was like, whoa, slow your roll. That's a lot. How about a free Zany Report monthly? And he's like, that'll do. So we are going to have Bob Zany on via Zoom. So we'll see how that goes. And it might be a monthly thing. I watched Hulk Hogan. I watched the video. I didn't notice it. It didn't seem, I wanted a real quality boo him. I wanted him like, boo, fuck you. You know, I wanted that. And that's not what I saw. Maybe there's different videos of it.
You know,
look, he's just a racist old man trying to sell his beer, and you guys are being mean.
And the wrestling fans aren't going to boo him that crazy.
Well, they'll boo him because he isn't a savory individual, but they will also take a photo with him.
Yeah. But I feel like wrestling fans love Hulk Hogan. They don't they don't dislike him. Right?
Well, they say they hate him. You see what I'm saying?
But for what reason?
Because he, all the N-word stuff and the, And
wrestling fans love that.
Yeah.
they think they love it.
Not the newer ones, they don't. No, the newer ones are a little more inclusive. You're throwing a dumb old man blanket over something you don't watch. Yeah. Yeah, the younger ones don't like him, really. The younger ones don't even like, I don't even think they like Cena, not even that much.
Who's the new guys they like?
I don't even keep up with it, but they like a lot of the guys that, I don't even think they like CM Punk anymore. See, I'm a dumb old man. I don't follow it. But I'm trying to think of, the chat room would know some people. Ghost to Manu Bull would say it. Yeah, the champion's a Japanese dude right now. That's what Jackal's saying. Yeah, it is. It's different. Now, back when I was going to wrestling with my dad, it was probably like a different thing. Oh, Nakamura's the champion? Man, I'm not a fan of Nakamura. When he first came in, Shinsuke Nakamura, he was good, but then I just thought he's too weird. I like a cowboy wrestler. I'm a Blackjack Mulligan guy. Big black hat, tiny black dukes, goes up there, mustache, cowboy. I like that. It's simple. I like a simple gimmick. What would your wrestling gimmick be, Tom? If you just had to think of something. Logic Man's not bad.
Nah, it doesn't really work. It needs to be something polarizing, especially if I was going to go something now.
Yeah, would you do politics? They're going to figure out a way to do that. They will eventually do that.
I'm surprised they haven't. Honestly.
Well, it's because it's hot button. Once it sizzles down a little bit, maybe it'll, it really depends on the risk you want to take on how wild everyone is in the streets.
Yeah, I feel like though. That's what wrestling has always done. Like,
they had some
like Russia or Iran.
Well, they had some bits they pulled back in the Vince documentary. They cover one that it's when they took Sergeant Slaughter, the most beloved American army man. Oh, I got Zany, and they made him an Iraqi sympathizer, and he was like basically saying "Hail Saddam," and people were losing their fucking shit. Like people were like, "Kill him!"
I feel like,
and then they were like, kill him. So they dialed it back. They're like, "We have to dial it back." Okay, here's Bob. I hit it. Yeah. Well, there he is. Coming in. There he is. Oh, wow. I love that, man. Live from the empty theater.
Is that the one I picked?
Yeah, I love it, though. It's awesome. It's hilarious.
with San Francisco in the backdrop, even though I'm in Las Vegas.
I love
I
it.
had three choices, kids. Three choices.
Can you see us okay?
Yeah, you guys look great.
Okay,
you
cool.
don't have the phony background.
Well, I mean, it's because we sit here and get fat all day long and everything. We need a phony background to look better. Awesome, man.
And I did want to say bring the camera up a little bit so you don't look so fat.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
All right, hold on one second. Let me make sure my recorder is ready to go. Are you good, man? Do you need anything from us, or can we just roll?
No.
Awesome.
We'll just give it a. Well, I'll do it. You'll introduce me doing the Zany Report. And Tom will just look really sad.
No. I got it, Bob.
Yeah. We're excited.
I'm thinking about my whole angle here, how radio's back, and we're going full bore.
Yeah. All right. So here I'm gonna go back to our lobby there. All right. Here we go, Tom. If you would like to begin, here we go. In 3, 2.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time. So me and Daniel have been talking business over the past couple weeks.
We're obsessed with business. A lot of people know that.
It's 2025, and we both discussed that once Hawk Tua got a podcast, that
well, really, it started with Shaq. I feel like no offense, no offense, but it worked its way to
Shaq. Then was it Dudes on Dudes?
And
then Hawk Tua, and then
can I throw one more in personally, just for me? It's when Big Justice and AJ, the Costco guys.
No, they started doing a podcast.
The official Costco podcast. Paid by Costco.
Oh, yeah. And then we started looking up statistics.
Yes.
And there are 4.36 million podcasts?
4.36 million.
At the end of 2025?
Yes.
And then we're like, well, hold on. Well, how many talk radio shows are there? And then we've determined those are harder stats to find.
Yes, far fewer.
There are like 6,000 talk radio shows across the country. And so for every 666 podcasts, there's one talk radio show.
It was really 666. That's interesting the way it worked out like that.
That was 4 million divided by like 5,000.
Yeah, I got you. You don't have to do it.
Anyway, and then so actually having a terrestrial radio talk show is way more rare than having a podcast.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a rare Pokemon card right here.
So we're back full on radio now.
Absolutely. So let's do it. You want to do radio? Did I hear radio? Do you want to do radio? Do you want to do it correctly? Because what is one of the things that radio does correctly? What they do is they go to a hard, on-the-road comedian somewhere out in America, and then they force him to do a bit immediately on there. Ladies and gentlemen, live from what appears to be San Francisco and an empty theater, we had him on. He offered us free Zany Reports, and man, when you get that offer, you don't turn it down. Ladies and gentlemen, national touring comedian, Mr. Bob Zany.
Thank you, you guys. And I know how important comedy is to you, but I realize that since you are a business show, I got to renew my DBA. Can you help me out with that?
Yeah.
We can do it. We're on it.
We're actually rebranding the whole corporate time thing, Bob, because we realize that everybody gets confused that we are talking some sort of corporate business,
but we're not.
Business.
We're just talking about our lives. But
it couldn't be further from business as it gets.
No, it is. And Tom, your statistics really. I was thinking about taking an Ambien tonight, but I'm just going to go over them in my head tonight.
Thanks, Bob.
The listeners are the extension of Bob.
I want you guys to know that I'm a radio insultant. What I do is I come in and make fun of the show, and then you make it better. So, again, that's what I add to it. I'm not in San Francisco. I'm in my hometown of Las Vegas, Nevada, actually Henderson, where I have a good view of the Strip from my front door. I can actually see the Sphere, and it's a big, giant ball.
There you go. Live from the Sphere.
Bob.
Sphere.
How is the escort thing as popular in Vegas? I know it's got to be. Well, is it still popular? Do the Uber drivers and the taxi cab drivers. I don't even know if they're taxis anymore. But
Yeah, what is Vegas like now? We haven't been there in a minute.
give out the little
Well,
escort
listen,
cards?
I'm not gonna answer the escort question, Tom. I'm glad you brought it up, but my wife's working right now, but she knows all the answers.
I like that.
Yes!
Yes, that is. Yeah.
That's why you got the goods, Bob.
Cacao! I'm gonna get
By
you.
the way,
I'm gonna get you something.
by the way, there are cabs here. The cabs are dominant still, but you have to walk really far at the airport to find the Uber and the Lyft. And you know what I'm tired of is these Uber and Lyft drivers that do both services. Pick a side.
I like
Yeah,
that.
you're right.
Stop riding the
Yeah,
fence. You don't get both. You're either yellow
No.
or a dilapidated car.
That's right. And that's when I always request. That way, you know, I think Rent-A-Wreck should actually have an Uber service, and that would be the icing on the cake, as they say. By the way, guys, I do a thing called the Zany Report. This is going to be a monthly feature.
Yes.
And the reason I'm here on your show is because of Porky's Comedy Club. I'm
Yes, sir.
already rebooked there in November, so we'll talk more about that. But they have great comedy there every week at Porky's. Just ask Eric. He kept telling me that, and I wouldn't listen.
Yeah. No, Porky's is great, and
And they've always been good to us, man. And they bring us
They
bacon.
really are. And with your weight gain, Porky's is really starting to take off for
It
you. Dan.
really. I'm becoming Porky's, actually.
You really are. Hey, I got some news for you. You guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, President Biden awarded the Presidential Citizens Medal to former Representative Liz Cheney. This is her second honor in a week. The first was winning the Sesame Street, actually, Miss Piggy lookalike contest.
I like that. I'll support
And
that.
I-
Miss Piggy,
I hear
yes!
that there wasn't even a close second. There wasn't even a close second. She got that all on her own. Kind of a sad note. I hate to bring things down, but Helena Senhouse, who was the second oldest person in the United States, has passed away at the age of 113.
God.
That's horrible.
Yeah, she said the secret to longevity, never having kids. Now, she passed away peacefully, surrounded by no one.
You know what? I thought about this the other day, Bob. When people are like
That's gonna be me.
they died surrounded by their friends and family,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't want to die that way. I don't want them seeing that.
Don't look
right?
at me.
Yeah. Like I die like an animal in the wild. You just go off into the woods alone and you die alone.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's what dogs do.
People like.
You know what?
Sorry.
You know, Tom, you're much like Ted Kaczynski, and I can't wait to read your manifesto.
Yeah, definitely. This guy's nuts. I mean, he's super crazy. Overthinks everything.
Loner.
I don't. Do you want your family to watch you die? It's weird.
Right into my eyes.
By the way, you guys, this is a business show. It's all about the corporate, so I have a business story.
Okay.
Party City, who recently claimed bankruptcy, has announced the closing of all their stores effective immediately. Now, the CEO of Party City said their debt was so big they couldn't make their balloon payment.
Yeah. That one. Kapow! That gets a
Come
kapow.
on.
Yeah, I love that one. Did you know that
Thank
they
you.
actually, Bob, did you know that Party City actually sent some of their higher-ups to China for a buyer's meeting, and then they shut the company down, leaving them stranded? Did you know that?
No,
That's a true story. That's not a joke. I'm not joking. They sent people there for a buyer's meeting, like, "Hey, look at this new supplies," and then they got there, and then they were like, "Oh, let's shut the whole company down," and then they had no way to get home.
Well, you know, I actually knew they were in trouble because I went to Party City, and the person at the front said, "You're not invited."
I like that too. Kapow! That gets another kapow.
Hey, my
Now,
wife.
this is a very important feature of the Zany Report, you guys. This is where we go back in time and revisit a past Zany Report joke. I've been doing the Zany Report dating back to the early 80s on KLOS radio.
Nice.
Through Bob and Tom and everybody else through the years. So what I'm going to do is revisit a past Zany Report joke. Now, this is at great risk to both our three of our healths, but I'm going to do it. Bear with me. Ready?
Sure.
Okay. It worked. Here it is, October 4th, 2016. Fun fact you should know. You know, guys, Bill Clinton went to college in England?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He said he loves studying abroad, but doesn't remember her name.
Hold on. That joke was from 2016.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that joke be from
No. The fact that it's from 2016 is what makes it
1998?
a true classic. I love it. I love it.
But it wasn't a 2 for late. I mean, 2016. It was old already. All right, sorry, Bob.
Yeah, it was an old joke already, and that's what you bring to the show, Tom. I think the way you just make people feel bad about themselves.
That's what Tuttle says. That's what our friend Tuttle says. Now we have 2 of our most famous or reoccurring bits monthly. We have a very good friend, a stunt boy, a radio guy named Tuttle, and he says the same thing. He says that every time he comes on the show, he feels terrible about himself.
I'm sorry, Bob.
No, that's okay. I'm actually kidding. I could give a crap. Listen, you guys, my dry bar comedy special, you go to YouTube, you can check that out there. You go to bobzany.net, check it out there, see where I'm headed next.
Yes, sir.
The dry bar special, millions upon millions. Please watch it and share it and like it. That's really important, I hear. To like it.
Yeah.
But, I have over 8.5 million views on YouTube alone and over 12 likes. So this is really building.
Well, Bob, we love you,
it's
man.
like 120,000. Who cares?
We're lucky to be able to talk to you. And when are you at Porky's again so we can make sure?
I'm going to be there in November. I believe it's the 21st, 22nd, but we have time to fix that in post.
Okay.
And they got some great shows until then, so check that out. And I'll be talking again in a month.
Yes, sir.
If Tom allows it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He loved it.
I see Tom at the focus group going, nah, it didn't work.
No. Don't let his face.
There's no focus or group.
I know.
We'll talk to you soon, man.
I understand. You guys are the best. Talk to you in a month.
See you, Bob. See you, dude. That's Bob Zany out on the road, taking time to zoom in from us.
That's old school radio. You're in 10 minutes. Yeah, that's it.
He knows. Out. He gave us a tight 12, man. He gave us a tight 12. We actually stretched it out a little bit. You notice? He probably threw a couple of jokes off the side of it because we were the ones that wasted 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Tight 12 and he's out.
You're like, you don't need to say anything. It's just you just sit there and I do the thing.
Let's go back to your idea for a second because you take a lot of heat on this show for having dumb ideas. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am one of the only people that doesn't think your ideas are dumb, and that's why I'm still here, okay? And I think this idea of going full radio is goddamn genius. No one's doing that. All radio shows are trying to be podcasts. And everybody else has a podcast. And you hit the nail on the head. When Hawk Tua gets a podcast, what are we supposed to do to set ourselves apart? I got the idea. We got to go and find the comedians that aren't selling tickets that are able to call into our show for free and tell us jokes that aren't funny and put that on the radio. And that's going to do it.
Now, it may be the horse salesman in New York when the automobile industry exploded.
Yeah.
And he walked out in Times Square and he's like, it's all cars now. There's only one horse. And then he's like, there's a market for horses. And then he's mistaken. But, it is more rare to have a radio show by, almost 1,000 to 1 now.
It's also more rare to use candlelight every night, it's kind of the same argument, is it not?
But I like I was watching Bob Zany do his Zany Report on Bob and Tom.
He's done he's literally done it over 10,000 times, I think.
And then it's weird because it shocked me back to like morning radio when I'm watching Bob and Tom and they're sitting.
There's an energy to it, right?
There's the producers in a separate room. Yeah. Like everybody's in a separate room, which is unique to radio.
We should have done that here. I think our employees would still be here if we had separate rooms. Yeah. If Sam had been in a separate room, she'd still be here. If Butler had been in a separate room, they'd still be here. Tony, he passed away. People don't know that.
Do you think that that podcasts will have the same evolution as, because I'm sure radio started out all in the same room, and then slowly but surely after 100 years, they separated into rooms, and then the peak radio in the 90s, everybody's in a separate bulletproof room.
That was always for fidelity, right?
Yeah, so you couldn't hear. I think it's so they could talk ass about each other.
That's what I did. I was like, this guy's nuts. I can't wait to quit this hunk of crap.
Then you just go back and doing the show.
I like you. It's not true. It's not true. Like, you turn the
but
mic
it worked.
You're like, and we'll be right back with Tom and Dad. And you click, and you're like, God damn, I hate that guy. And then you go back and you're like, you're the funniest. I love all your ideas, including your radio one. I like you.
maybe we should put a piece of glass in between us and
Okay.
start separating.
Hold on, I like this idea.
What if I started going in the other room and we put a piece of glass
Well,
in the...
Well, our original idea was to cut a hole in the wall directly behind you. People can see it right under you. We're going to cut a hole right there. That way I could be in here and you could be in your office, because I don't think people understand the way that our studio is set up. When we get in here in the mornings, I come into the main studio, set it up, and then I kind of use this as my home base, whereas you go into the business office and kind of use that as your home base. We're in separate rooms most of the day, and we don't talk unless we're on the air. Right?
No, we do a little chit-chat.
A little bit. It's usually us bitching about our families. Right? We bitch about our families a little bit.
Yeah. Come in here with a cockamamie idea that I'll talk myself out of at the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
I'll be like, how about we do this? And then I'm like, no.
I usually present some sort of song to you as like an offering, and then you'll like it, but then I'll hate it. You know what I mean? Like it's already effed out in my mind, and I absolutely hate it.
Didn't Bob and Tom end up doing their show and like someone moved to an island?
Yeah, I think they did. I think one of them.
Do they still do a show?
Damn it! If Bob Zany wasn't such a pro and had not pieced out, we could have picked his brain about Bob and Tom. I'm going to email him about that. We say, look, dude, we're doing this a little differently. You don't have to give us the straight 12. In fact, I'll let you talk. Bob, I'll give you a full hour. What do you want, buddy? But he could explain to us. But yes, one of them moved away. A lot of big-time radio guys have done this. Tom Joyner did this. I think for the Tom Joyner morning show, he went and would be at his home studio, and his entire cast would come into the studio and do the show, but he was never there. He was at his home.
Yeah. It's like a news junkie right now.
I know. I was going to make some comment. I was going to say how insulting that is. Then I was like, don't say that.
Yeah. But I guess if your cadence is, it would be harder for me and you, and we've talked about it. Like, that would be the ultimate, I guess, dream job in talk radio or talk show or podcast is to do your podcast from your home and wherever you want.
Well, you and I are crazy, and let me. We're jaded and weird. We look at the radio show with such different eyes than most people do. Like, they just flipped up the shows down there in Tampa at the Bone. And there are, like, I went and looked to see what the lineup is. Drew's over there, and John Senning, his producer, is now getting his own show. And you look, and then you've got these like younger guys, and you and I thought this is dead. We don't think about this. You got like younger guys that are being slid into these producer spots that would have been like me sliding into producing the Monsters or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And they're like literally like, holy crap, I did it. I'm finally doing morning radio, or I'm finally doing radio. And like, it's crazy that we've been doing this for so long, even on our own terms, where I can't even wrap my brain around that idea.
Yeah. Well, because you still, and that's where people, I think, misunderstand.
And that's not shade, because like, that's Tampa's a bigger market, and that's a definitely a hard thing to do. But there are people still getting radio jobs that are excited to get radio jobs.
100%.
It's just not a lot of them.
Well, but I think anybody that's trying to get an audience, because it's still an aspect of, hey, this company this established is putting you on a show at a time slot, and presenting and showing their audience.
It's a validation, right? It's belief.
Yeah, but they're also exposing their audience that are tuned in every day to a new person. So you would love that opportunity. You'd also love the opportunity to get on any big network of any kind, like to get on a big podcast network or a network of another show. I've been seeing this lately in like the sports podcasts I listen to. That now, like, and it's all becoming big corporate anyway.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's never going to be, the bigger podcasts are always going to restructure and become more corporate because that's what capitalism does, right?
Sure.
It's like you want to make more money and get bigger.
The goal is not,
You know what I'm saying? So they're always going to take, like, Rogan or some of your biggest shows, and then you get a sales team, you get a marketing team, and then with that, to grow the network, because that's all it is, selling commercials, is then you start exposing new shows to that audience. So I've seen podcasts where they start releasing different shows in their own feed and say, hey, you might like this. And
Yeah.
and it's the network's attempt to build the popularity of other shows. Where that becomes difficult is this happened to Barstool and Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
And it was a big lawsuit back in the day. Remember when he started promoting that it was this chick's podcast?
Call Your Daddy podcast.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then his argument was like, we put her on, she blew up. And then she was like, well, I'll just do this
it on my own.
Do it on my own.
Right.
And he's like, no, well, hold on. I exposed you to my audience.
We see this in advertising.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, we have had we're very lucky that we haven't had this happen very, very often. But in radio, you will have a client come to you, they'll buy, it'll work, and then they'll realize that, like, oh, well, like, it's working, so maybe I'll just pull back and just let the residual of what I did just keep going.
Yeah.
It's
the only difference between that and this is that once that person has downloads and the audience knows about the show and likes it, the audience will just go and download it anywhere else. Like, it doesn't need to be in the feed necessarily. And maybe there's a certain, like...
it's not their business deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it becomes like non-competes. That becomes real muddy because how are you going to do a non-compete in podcasting? Because once it's on the internet, it's global. So we've been all through this and stuff. So it's like with the old school radio model, it's like, all right, if we give you a chance to get on this local Central Florida market, then you have a non-compete. You can't work anywhere in this market for X amount of years, right? And that was the way they did it. But now, because of the internet's global, then it becomes
the world
almost
changed.
impossible.
Yeah, it changed.
But then how do you lock down those shows? And maybe those shows just realize, it's better to partner with a bigger market that has a sales force and stuff than do it on my own because it's too hard.
It's because it's not a guaranteed home run. Like, if you're gonna go somewhere, they funded you, and then you're gonna take it and do it on your own, you better damn sure make sure that you know how to do what they did.
Yeah, and because then you have to now have your own salespeople, your own promotional people,
Right.
and just like better to partner with someone that has all that, just funnels you the commercials, and then you just have to worry about your show.
Yeah.
Just like old school radio. It's like they used to only, nowadays, like me and Daniel, we do everything. We wear all hats: engineering, sales, marketing, events, everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Branding.
we have people that help us, but it's our decision ultimately, which doesn't happen in any other entertainment industry. It's usually the quote-unquote talent, that's just what they call it, just has to worry about putting on the entertainment.
Yeah.
And everybody else works the business. You
Yeah.
got a sales force, you got a promotions, you got managers, and that's the corporate structure.
And that's what kind of keeps it moving along.
Yeah. And then so it's like, and I think about this too, because like if me and you partnered with a bigger company that just fed us commercials, that may be easier. But then it does take away some of the
autonomy of picking your own commercials, the relationship with the client.
Control.
Well, what I would say, just to pipe in here, is the weaker side of the business part, because I'm not in there all the time. Is that I think that wouldn't work as well for us, because effectively the relationship that you and Tracy seem to have with our clients is way more important to me as the other side than just somebody feeding me commercials and I read it. There's no value in that. That doesn't help me have a relationship with like Modern Plumbing or with our friends at,
Mo.
like Mo DeWitt. Exactly. Like those are relations, like our advertising is way different. Sorry, we're going heavy business.
No.
No, I like this though. It's fun. It's fun.
It just shows you that, and there's no right way to do it, but with podcasts trying to expose themselves to a different audience.
No, but you're right.
Because you can't just start a podcast and get instantly popular. That's the insane rarity. It's like a one-hit wonder. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
How do you make a one-hit wonder? Well, it's impossible to set out for that to be your goal and you hit it every time. You can't, you know what I'm saying?
No.
It's random.
It won't work.
And so, but what is possible is for you to make a song that a lot of radio stations and other people are willing to play and promote, and then it exposes it to lots of millions of ears. And so without that exposure, it is hard to get to the next level to make any money. So you need, if you're an up-and-coming any entertainer or talk show or whatever, you want the iHeart to give you your show so you could expose you to an audience so that you have any power at all.
Yeah.
Because without the people listening, there's no power.
There's nothing.
And you have nothing. You
Right.
can't sell anything. You can't make any money.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It is a
Yeah.
nothing. Going back to what you were saying, and to stay on old school radio and the stuff that I liked, there are some things in old school radio that I personally was never able to do that I would like to bring to the show.
Okay.
A couple of things.
Yeah.
I would like to, I've always wanted to, this is purely selfish, and you can crap on this if you want. This is what this is for. I want to give away a car. I want to give away a motorcycle. I have always wanted to give somebody, and they have to. I want to give a motorcycle to someone who's not going to ride it. Like I want to give.
yeah.
I want to give
Oh,
a
Granny.
$23,000 Harley Davidson Electroglide to a morbidly obese white lady that can't ride it. She can't ride it.
And she never will.
Never
be able
will.
To.
And then so she takes the payout.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I want to give away a car, man.
Yeah.
I want to do
to someone who doesn't deserve it.
Exactly. To a piece
doesn't
of,
even need it.
Piece of ass. Just a horrible. Like I don't even need a car. I'm rich. Give him a car. You know how many times that happened? Oh, tons. Just tons of times. People giving away motorcycles. And some guy's like, I don't need this crap.
Because they're worried. Because the corporate is super concerned about doing it fairly, and doing it by the book, right?
But why?
Just because they have
Because that's the way.
Because without they have a possibility of being sued. Everything with big corporations is about not getting sued.
Let's do teeth for Christmas next Christmas. We've got enough time if we start doing it now. Let's give away. How many sets could we get? How
Teeth
many
is
sets?
hard.
How many sets? It's one good set.
You know, like
One good set of teeth. Full teeth. I want to do a full mouth extraction. Full big Buseys. Full big Gary Delabates.
You know, I'm surprised.
Let's give away something crazy. Let's give away a breast augmentation. That's it. That's it. Hold on. I did it. We're giving away a breast augmentation and a labiaplasty. Do you know what that is? A labiaplasty?
I have an
You know what that
idea, but I'm not sure what the plastic is.
Yeah, I'll tell you later. I'll tell you off the air. So we're giving away. Oh, the chat room's saying T's and teeth. That's
Okay.
EJ, that's one of the better things you've ever said, dude.
Like
What are you on, Ginkgo biloba this morning? Like
an extreme makeover?
Yeah. Let's do the swan. Tom and Dan present the swan. We give you hair. We give you boobs. We give you a labiaplasty.
You know,
We give you medical guided weight loss, courtesy of Dr. Powers. He may not want to be involved. I'll cut that out.
I know that we are older now, so we're
Medical marijuana.
We're not. That we could do.
We'll give you medical marijuana.
But I don't hear too much about people getting breast augmentations.
No, it's more popular than it's ever been.
That's what I would think so.
Children are getting it
It's
done
just,
now.
it's just.
Well, that was under Biden. Trump's going to shut it down. But
it's gotten easier, I imagine.
Yeah.
But is the popularity still there? Because in the '90s, that's it all was.
we're back there. We're back.
Boob jobs.
Oh, we're back to boob jobs, baby. I think we're back.
I just don't.
People don't talk about it
see
as much.
Oh, they hide
And
it.
I think people want a subtle. You want a subtle boob job. You don't like. You don't want to get the big old Grand Tetons. You don't. You don't go get the Dixie Dynamite.
It just you make them better. It's like more of a lift, a resculpture. Than,
Yeah, it's more of a freshening
How much are we talking?
for
Because back
for
in
a good one.
Back in the day, it was like $5,000.
For a good one, about 8.
8,000.
And that's not even the best. That's mid range. I feel like that's like a couple trim levels down.
And where is a local plastic surgery center that does that? They're
All
over, right?
All over. There's a bunch near you.
Yeah,
Castleberry got a ton of plastic surgery. Man, they're making people look great again in Castleberry. That's their slogan.
We need to talk to a plastic surgeon and just that's a good weird job Wednesday. If someone knows a plastic surgeon,
Wait a minute, I don't want to do a
promote
weird.
him.
No, I don't want to do a weird job. I want to give away a breast augmentation. I'm coming to you with $1 million idea.
Well, it's only $1 million idea if the plastic surgeon wants to advertise with us.
He will. Tracy's on it. Tracy's already on it.
All right.
Oh, Kupo Jace says we give away a breast augmentation for a woman, and we do a breast reduction for a fat man. That's not bad.
Okay. All right.
I
But
feel like we are inching into Buckethead territory with some of these ideas.
That's
and,
what
and then
sells.
I'm going to get an email from him because he's back in town. He's stealing my ideas.
I do like the idea of someone like morbidly obese, like EJ, that only reducing his breasts. So
the rest of him's still fat.
Yeah, that he has like a bird chest, but big fat everywhere else.
A bird pair.
Yeah.
Bird on the top, hair on the bottom.
But it's all ribs, like you see his ribs. And I guess saggy.
Yeah, and a big fat pear ass.
All right.
Did you know the only pants that a big fat pear ass like EJ can wear are Carhartts? Did you know that? Carhartts, home of the pear ass.
All right, well, let's take a break. We'll be right back with more corporate time.
I'm just trying to make you laugh. That was funny.
So we'll do Tuesday 1 and 2 real quick. And then we got a bunch of stuff.
All right, this is the 7th. Was that, what number was that?
That was Tuesday 3.
Yes. Why isn't that working up there? Hold on. I had that set up so you could see it. Is that on it now? Yes. Okay, great. Kupo says Carhartt is for bisexual boys addicted to Zins now. Is that true? I don't know. So Carhartt is very popular in England. Interesting. Their quality has dipped a little bit, but I've always enjoyed their products. Good shirts. Ooh, we could give away a BBL.
That Brazilian butt lift
Kills people. That killed Kanye West's mom.
Well, I mean, but how many?
And then he was going to do a video game about her death. Remember that? I wish
was
I
that
was
a video
I wish
game?
I was that crazy. Yeah, he made a cell phone game about his mom's death where you're an angel and you flying around in the sky. You remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
I wish I was that crazy. That's peak. See, those are good ideas.
He hasn't done anything crazy.
Yeah, he did. He texted me this morning. I'll show you.
Well,
Do you want me to talk to you about this?
You have some texting service?
And then you go to Yeezy, and then it pulls up, and you go to his website, and it pulls up a list of all of the shitty clothing with just like weird, like gothic, almost racist writing on it, like T-shirts and stuff. And then you go to put it in your cart, and the sizes are 1, 2, and 3. There's no small, medium, large. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And then you put it in your cart, and it's $20. Everything is $20. Shirts are $20, pants $20, shorts $20, socks $20, everything $20.
All right. Well, that's not.
That's
crazy. It is crazy.
That's crazy.
But
He'll make a lot of money from this because people will buy it, but, you know.
Did you sign up for some sort of...
I'm thinking a listener signed me up as a joke.
Oh, they get the
They
Yeezy
do a lot of that. I
text?
get all the gay texts. I'm MAGA crazy. I'm liberal crazy. I get all of them. I get every side of the political spectrum. Yeezy. I get every promotional item you could ever think of. All right, buddy. Would you like to bring us back?
We're going to start.
Oh, we're going to start. Okay. Perfect.
Yep.
Coming back to 1. All right. Here we go. In 3, 2.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on YouTube and Twitch. Head on over there, like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Tons of great videos on there. Melissa really been working her butt off with really great shorts and funny videos. SJ's got some compilations up there that you can check out. Tons of great content. Just search at Tom and Dan Live. You will really, really like it. I'm very, very proud of our YouTube channel.
Also, one of our brand new watering holes, 1010 Brewery,
Yeah, man.
is doing their amateur rib contest this Saturday, January 11th. Live music. They've got delicious 1010 beer.
Yeah.
They're doing a charity raffle.
Let me say it like this. Do you like eating ribs? Because this would be the place to go. And I freaking love ribs.
Yeah. And then you can make the joke, I'm eating ribs with this dude. And,
I didn't even think
2016.
Yeah. Slightly inappropriate, but funny nonetheless.
So that's at 1010 Brewing. Is it 1010? Wait, they're called 1010 because that's their address is 1010.
The number 10, TEN.
Yeah, but their address is actually 1010 Ivanhoe. Is it Ivanhoe? What's the street there?
You should have just said their address is 1010 and left it at that. It's when you go for specifics that you get into trouble, right? You got to go vague. You got to go vague on it.
But anyways, right near the studio, and that's this Saturday, January 11th.
Yeah, Mike and all of the staff at 1010's, delicious beers, and they've been doing it a long time. And go there and support your local brewery.
Yeah, they have been. They've been doing it since seemingly
right after us.
Like right after we started our podcast. I remember Mike started his brewery.
He was a distributing man, and he left that, and he was in the trenches with some other brewers, and he created his 1010 Brewing, and the rest is history. Delicious. I like their IPA. It's good.
So it was 41.
It's Virginia. There we go.
Virginia, 1010 Virginia Avenue.
Yeah, there you go.
So it was 41 degrees this morning. So for Florida, that's cold, right?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not. Maisie says she is, but she was complaining this morning.
So yesterday, we get an email from the coach at the kids' elementary school saying that.
Do you read it as the coach? Do you read it like, "Hey, sucker, you smell yourself, boy, take a lap"?
No, he's not. He's not really like that.
Yeah.
But he's still, since he's the coach, he's now an administrator.
Fun fact: I only ever had one white coach. Every other coach I had was either black or Puerto Rican.
No, really?
Isn't that cool?
DeLand?
Yeah.
So he sent an email saying that the cross country is before school Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
And he sent an email saying, even though it's going to be cold, we're still going to run cross country tomorrow.
I like that. This guy's a Dan Campbell.
We don't know.
It's a Dan Campbell.
Although they canceled it before Christmas because it got too cold. So I wonder if it was just like, he's like, I'm not doing it again.
He took some heat. Yeah, he took some heat. He's like, they're weak.
So he's like, even though it's going to be cold, we're going to have that many people.
Does he have those horrible rotting out Brock Lesnar, Dan Campbell teeth where you see the root?
I wish he did.
Oh,
he's
man. Oh, my God. Dan Campbell's teeth are horrible.
Well, he's that's a chew, right? That he has
and I know
brown in the front.
I know what you're thinking. Some of you are thinking, Dan, that's a horribly judgmental and terrible thing to say. No. I don't want him to change his teeth. Those are his football teeth. Those are the teeth that are making a winning franchise. Have you seen how good Detroit is playing? Amon-Ra St. Teeth is what his name should be called.
Fourth down teeth. So he sends out an email saying, even though it's going to be cold tomorrow, this is yesterday, we're still going to run cross country. There's probably not going to be that many people, but whoever comes will still do something.
How'd you feel about that?
Oh, I was excited.
You liked it. Yeah, I knew you would like it.
I was like, this is, Crystal told me about the email, and then so I get home yesterday, and then I gather the boys. I'm like, quit playing video games and come listen to me.
Serious talk, Coach Dad.
And I'm like, now.
Huddle up.
I'm like,
hands in.
We have an opportunity tomorrow to
show this coach what we're made of.
And I'm like,
I'm getting chill bumps right now.
And I'm like, can you imagine that the coach? It's blistery, 41 degrees. He's out there bundled up, and then he's standing there.
Who's that coming through the fog? It's the van.
It's the van, boys. They showed up. They did it.
They're
Look
here.
how tough they are.
They're here.
It's Tommy and Mac's van, and there's his old man van.
An old man van.
And they're.
Wait a minute. Are you calling yourself old man van now?
They're in relation to my sons. Then they're coming. They're the only ones that showed up. Everybody else stayed home because it was too cold.
Yeah.
And Tommy and Max and Tom Van show up.
They're here. I admire your commitment, boys.
And then
Dan Campbell said with a smile.
In my fantasy, he says, well, since you guys showed up, we're not even going to run. We'll just drink coffee in the clothes under the pavilion.
Since you guys came here and put in the effort, we're going to go under the pavilion and drink coffee, say curse words, and look at boobies.
Yeah. So I was explaining to the boys, I was like, it's our opportunity tomorrow
to impress him.
To impress the coach, and also to be the toughest family in the school.
Which is very important to you. I can see in your eyes how important this is to you.
Yeah. And
people think I'm joking. I am not joking. I am smiling because these type of things do make me happy. But I can see the actual and true joy and love in your face that you really felt. Man, to have an audio recording of this hype up speech.
Yeah. Now, if
this would be like Tony Dungy in the locker room giving him the God.
Now, if
Did you give him the God?
If I imagine that if I gave the same speech to Maisie, she's all in 100%.
I see what's happening.
Like Maisie,
they have to be accepting. It's like a
Maisie
psychic. You got to be open to it.
Maisie would be like, "Yes, all right, Dad, let's do it." And get up extra early, bundle up. We're getting ready.
Yeah.
We're driving there before the coach even. We're there at 3:30 in the morning.
Let's camp out and scare him.
We're there waiting for him before he even gets into.
We're the coach now.
Unlocks the door, and Maisie would be fired up. She's like, "I want to be the toughest one." Anyway, my sons not so much.
So how did they react to your your little promotional speech?
They were like, "Oh God!"
Wait a minute! I thought they liked it.
No, they weren't excited about how cold it was going to be.
Gotcha.
And
then, don't tell them. You're making too big of a deal with the cold.
Well, then I started bringing it back. I was like, and Max is like, "Hold on, how cold is it going to be?" I started lying.
You can't let him ask questions.
I was like, "I don't know." That Mike is always wrong on his Mike's weather page.
That's good. Oh my God, you're selling out your friends. He's selling out his effing friends.
He started to hype up. It's going to snow in Florida.
This guy's nothing but Facebook hype. He gets on the, he starts tipping back the whiskey.
Yeah. Like he's not even, I don't know. There's who's his boss? There's no accountability.
Who vets Mike?
And so then I started bringing it back. I was like, well, maybe it's not going to be that cold. It's always an exaggeration, the news or whatever. And I'm like, but we just got to be there. And so they were very like, I shouldn't even said anything.
I think you confused them.
Well, they were not happy about it. They're like, oh God, it's going to be so cold. And then
who was the most unhappy out of the two?
Oh, Max.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was the more into the stuff.
No, emotional. He's the emotional.
Sorry, that makes sense.
Yeah. He emotionally was mad.
Dreading. I'll kick your window out of your car.
Yeah. He was mad that I was excited about waking up early, freezing cold.
Yeah.
Then, but Tommy, he was like, okay.
He's like, I'll do it. I'll just follow you along.
But Tommy's like me in the fact that I said that we were going to do something tomorrow, so that's a million years in the future.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I got nothing but time.
Yeah. So I knew that a lot of this was going to be dismantled in the morning when we actually getting.
You just had to plant the seed.
Yeah. Then we missed school yesterday because Crystal.
I wouldn't tell them. This is what I wouldn't tell. This is what I wouldn't tell.
Well, we thought that Orange County, Crystal talked to Andrea and found out Andrea's going back today.
Yeah, and today is Maisie's first day back.
But Seminole County's first day back was yesterday, but we didn't know that. We didn't get the emails.
It's weird that you didn't know that because normally you're on top of that
they
stuff.
sent the email. The problem is they send too many garbage emails, so every email I get, I never open because it's always
gotta open them all. They make you open them all.
I start scanning through. I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna bake off.
I told you not to say that. Tracy is straight up laying in. Tracy is a mom. Tracy helps us.
Well,
we love Tracy. She's our QB. Tracy's very, very disappointed in you. Like Tracy is literally, and Tracy's normally on your team.
Yeah. Well, Tracy's only got one kid. That's half as easy as 2 kids.
That I do agree with.
Yeah.
I got one. It's way easier.
Yeah, even though they both go to the same school, really just one kid. So nothing really.
They're
different.
always together. Super easy. Yeah. They're both like one.
They come in a pair.
Yeah, it's like one beautiful beautiful personality.
Yeah. Anyway, the first day back after winter break, I was like, it could be that. And what are they actually learning? Anyway, we didn't go because I got up this morning.
When did you find out that they missed school? Was it in enough time to make it, or were you just like, nah, you get an extra day?
No, yesterday Crystal called me and it was like noon already. She was like,
she waited on that. I feel like.
Yeah. She had the boys scheduled for a haircut and this whole thing, and she's like, yeah. I'm just gonna whatever. And I'm like, you're telling me,
you just gotta pretend like you didn't know.
You could tell Crystal could convince me that she's just gonna homeschool the boys and they'll be just as good, and I'll be like, all right. I'm like, makes sense.
Well,
whatever.
I have that in common with you. Like, if Andrea told me the way to do things and it's a completely radical and different way, I would just go along with it. You know that.
Yeah, because I
might question it a little bit, but I mean, she's got a lot more right than I have.
I'm like, who else is doing this? Kanye West?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like his school. I got a text message from him this morning to buy his cheap clothing.
It's all $20.
I'm a size 3 fat.
Anyway, so we didn't make it. Although now, but the whole time this morning, so I got up this morning at 6, still with the thought that maybe we'd make it. You know what I'm saying? But then I opened the door and I was like, God damn.
It was very cold.
And then I was like, immediately, and plus it was pitch black. Like, it doesn't even get like dusk until like the time we're supposed to be running. So it's going to be like, barely the sun's up at that's the coldest time in the morning, like 41.
Yeah.
And then, but all I can think about is there's other dads that go, but especially there's one karate dad.
Oh,
that's
your arch enemy.
Troy,
the karate dad.
And then I'm like, I bet karate dad's there. Him and his daughter are there.
This is like Bob and Jimmy Pesto from Bob's Burgers. Like you didn't show up, so Troy, the karate dad, looked around and he's like, well, guess he didn't show up.
Yeah.
Those vans.
Yeah, so, and I'm tempted.
Those limp-wristed vans.
And so then during dinner, I was talking to Max because Max was bitching about going to cross country, and then this is last night.
Yeah,
and he's like,
"Oh man, he was really going."
No, yeah.
so he does like me.
Because he's like, "Why are we going so cold?"
So you are surrounded by emotional. So I am surrounded by logical people at all times, and they drive me crazy. And you're surrounded by emotional people at all times, and they're driving you crazy. Okay,
yeah.
I feel like I need to hug you and apologize. Yeah, I feel like I need to hug you and apologize.
And he didn't understand. He's like, why do we have to go? But
what if you just said, hey, we said we were going to do it, and the coach says we're supposed to do it. So a commitment is a commitment, and just leave it at that.
No, well, the coach said whoever shows up, it's fine. It's going to be freezing. Understand if you don't show. Like it's elementary school.
Yeah.
It's not Dan Campbell.
No, I know. I got
it. It's not like we're biting their kneecaps.
Well, you have the ability though to say like, hey, if you signed up, I want you to make all the practices, and that's just what I want to do.
Yeah. Now I thought about this because
I'm kind of like that. Like I am a stickler on like if Maisie doesn't want to do something, even if she's like bitching about it, I'm like, I'm sorry, man. That's the rules, and then I put it on the rules.
Okay, well,
and I go, hey, I'm sorry. It's a commitment, and you got to honor your commitments. You can't just say I'm going to do it, and it's a little cold, and you can't go.
Okay, well, I thought about this, and because I'm like, well, would a good parent just force them to go no matter what?
I don't really think of it like a force. I think of it like it's
like no matter how cold it is.
It's completing the task.
Yeah.
It's not a force. The force, I'm not going to force, if you're, I'm not going to force you to do it.
No, but
we signed up for this.
They're like, I don't want to go. And we're like, we're going, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I think the people, like a Maisie, right? I doubt you had to force her very much, if at all, ever to go to dance.
No.
There was no point where she was like, I don't want to go today, and you were like, you're going.
There's never been.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, I'm like, the people that are the champions in this world, they want to go no matter what. And then so I'm like, I don't think you could force a champion. That's all.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So I'm like,
I do agree with that, but you can force the value of the commitment.
But I think you can force a memory of someone forcing you to do something horrible for no apparent reason.
Or you can
overthink.
Or you can overthink the forcing of things into thinking that forcing things is so bad that you never force anything.
Well,
and then if you don't right?
It just depends. Like, obviously,
so how do you know? Like, how do you know what's right?
Yeah. But it's also like the people that the kids that want to go, and it's easy. For instance, like Dave Chappelle gives his mom a lot of credit for taking him to comedy clubs
when he was young.
every weekend when he was 14 years old. And they're like, yeah, thanks to my mom for supporting that. If my sons ever had a dream of doing something and told me, like, would you take me to a comedy club? Would you take me? If they had a dream of doing anything,
right?
And saying,
but didn't they? They wanted to do.
Well, Max's breakdance. I take him every Monday.
I mean the running. Didn't they both want to do that? Like, you can't change it. It's either you're in or you're out. It's not I want to do it when it's sunny. I don't want to do it when it's cold. I'm just giving you what I do. I don't do that. I don't adhere to that.
Have to do that? Do you have to tell her? Do you have to force her to do anything?
No, but if there was something, I'm not thinking of something right now. Maybe if Andrea's in there, she can think of something, but
that's the thing.
There are things I force her to do. Absolutely. Like taking the dog out. You don't want to take the dog out? I don't want to do it. Take the dog out.
Of course.
Rules are rules. You have a dog. You got to take the dog out. So I look at the running. I look at that as exactly the same thing. It's a part of your life. It's a commitment. It's something you said you're going to do. So why do you suddenly get to pick and choose when and why you get to do it?
No, I force them to do their responsibilities. I'm just saying I'm like some, cross country at 41 degrees. And if they're not, I was hoping to trick them into wanting to show.
I don't think you can make them want something, but you can teach them. See, I don't think you can make them want to run, but you can teach them that the thing they were worried about, this is just my opinion. The thing Max is worried about, that he was all up in his head about, and he's like, man, I used to did it all night, did it in the morning complaining to you. Maybe you could teach him that it wasn't that bad. See, there is value in that. He gets out there, he runs a thing, and he's like, oh, man, I wasted all that time last night and all that time this morning complaining about this. This wasn't even that bad. You can teach them that, which might make them want to do it more. But I think just letting them go like, it's too cold, and just being like, well, you're right, it's too cold. I don't think that just teaches them that anytime they don't want to do something, that they can probably lean on you and get out of it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. It's the kids that, if Dave Chappelle, if my kids want to go to the comedy club and then that's their dream, and then it's just me driving them every night, that's easy.
No, I know. I know. I get what you're saying.
So it's easy when these champion kids when Maisie wants to go to dance every day, and is like she's like, I'd rather go to dance than anything else. Like, I just have to take me there.
I'll give you a better example. There's a camp that she went to that was the gymnastics camp that's around here, and she was already committed to it, and we had already paid for it, and she was doing it, and she didn't want to go, but we made her go because we'd already paid for it, and we told her, and we just reasoned with her, you're sorry, you're going to this because that's the way it is, and you're going. Okay. It wasn't even that big of a deal. It was more of a, like, you're learning that. To me, the lesson is, and look, I'm not the best parent. Andrea's way better than I am. But I think that sometimes the lesson is that it's not that I'm forcing you to do something. It's that I'm teaching you that you are strong enough to make it through something you think you can't do.
Well, was she crying about it? Was she freaking out? Or like, oh, God, I hate this?
Not crying, but silent treatment, yelling, I don't want to go, I hate this place. Yeah. Silent treatment in the car? Sure, 100%.
Better parent than I am.
No. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm not as connected, though, right? Like, I didn't have my dad die in a hurricane very, very young. You know what I mean? Like, that's all, that I almost cursed. That factors in. That 100% factors in. My parents were with me every step of the way. I probably had the most supportive parents in the effing world, like, without a doubt. But they would force me to do some terrible stuff that I didn't like to do.
Anyway.
Stetson's Children's Choir, my mom and dad made me do that. I didn't want to do it.
I'm ruining my kids, obviously.
You're not. You're not.
So you watched this Grizzly documentary. Yeah. What was it?
Let's talk about. It's called what is it called again? You wrote it down.
Project Grizzly.
Project Grizzly. So this particular documentary is from the 90s. It's like super duper old. But this particular guy became obsessed with inventing a suit. He's a Canadian real man. He became obsessed with inventing a suit to protect him so he could go out and observe grizzly bears in their natural habitat without getting mauled and crushed and killed.
Yeah, I remember the old footage of a guy in some giant, it kind of looks like the suits, and it may be the those like big red suits that self-defense instructors would wear.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the Grizzly Project like those suits came from that guy's invention to begin with. You know, like they're modeled after that because they kind of look like that big ball suit.
His name was Troy. I don't really know how to pronounce his last name. Hurtubise. But yeah, it's a 1996 documentary about a Canadian inventor. It follows his obsession researching the Canadian grizzly bear up close ever since surviving an early encounter with such a bear. He almost like paints this picture of him being almost like a deity, of like he was sort of anointed. Like once he had this contact with a bear and it didn't hurt him, that was like the bear gods telling him that he needed to like do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I've always wanted to be one of those people, right? Where you like had some sort of experience where like then you become, it's like the guy that gets bit by a shark, and then he decides that he is now Shark Man, and I will now protect all sharks because I'm one with the sharks.
And dedicating your life to some invention that protect, like it's. And I have something when I heard you talk about this, like dedicating your life to nonsense.
Yes,
is one of my favorite things, and I'll explain later.
Yeah, well, this guy he kind of did. There's the Ursus Mark 6. Was the one he worked on. I mean, the suit cost like $150,000. He was always continuously testing, and that's what they kind of show in the documentary. They would try to simulate, because the funniest thing is, I don't believe that this gentleman, unless somebody can tell me differently, I don't believe he ever lived to use the suit with grizzlies. Most of the time, the grizzly bears had just run away. So they were still trying to test the suit using things that scientists and doctors would tell them. Like they had a scientist tell them that in order to simulate the attack of a grizzly, they would need to take like a 400-pound log, tie it with ropes, and swing it from a tree, and have the blunt end of it like hit him in the solar plexus and like blast him like 40 feet. Yeah, and
then they would hit him with a truck.
Yeah, truck. Yeah. They did like a forklift. They just did all kinds of. Then I guess people started getting confused on whether or not they were just doing this for. At some point, you're effing around, like it's you and your friends in a suit. You're just like hitting them with an old LeSabre.
Yeah, dedicating your life to nonsense.
Yeah, there we are.
Because first, even grizzly attacks to begin with are insanely rare.
Yeah.
And are usually just random happenstance, like a hunter or someone runs across a grizzly bear and their cubs, and the bear will charge the threat to their cubs.
This is Quentin Tarantino's favorite documentary of all time, he says.
But even if you run across a grizzly bear with their cubs, like I think 9 times out of 10, it'll still just run away. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's even like to even simulate it would be nearly impossible. And I'm sure the guy came up with a bunch of plans to try to simulate it. And it's like, even if we tried our whole lifetime to put someone in the suit near some grizzly territory, unless it was in a zoo or something, it'd be impossible to even have the grizzly attack.
I mean, it's definitely still worth watching, even though what I'm about to tell you. I mean, it's definitely worth watching just to see how quirky this Canadian real man is. I also talked to our good friend Brendan O'Connor about it, and he knew exactly what it was just because he's Canadian. And apparently this guy's a bit of a legend, for his and he talks like, he's very much like an he's very Canadian. He talks like that. It's pretty cool. But in 2001, he took part in a controlled test with the help of an apprehensive bear handler in an undisclosed location to realize his dream of coming face-to-face with a grizzly bear once more. Wearing his Ursus Mark 6 suit, he stepped into the cage and with both a grizzly and a larger Kodiak bear. Neither bear attempted to attack him, leading him to conclude that a successful controlled attack would require a bear suit that looks more human.
Because they were afraid of the big, round.
If you kind of look at
nonsense.
it looks very much like a spacesuit.
It
looks very much like what an astronaut would wear, and I can imagine that most anybody would be scared of it.
So every once in a while, you'll run across a person that has dedicated their life to nonsense, and it's pretty fascinating because it's all random. And like every time I go down south or go to the Keys and I pass by the Coral Castle right there, like it is right before the Keys start, or like Key Largo or whatever. And there's this some crazy old man built. They say a castle. It's basically like a bunch of, it's like structure built out of coral, whatever. And then there's like a door that swings, and they're like, I don't know how he put this on, made this so it would swing with just a push or whatever. Anyway, he dedicated his life to nonsense, and he died, and now it's a thing. But it does make you live on forever.
I'm 100%, and I know you like that as well. I am pro.
It turns you into a legend.
Yeah, I am pro Coral Castle. The word of the year is legend, because we are going to try and commit Cadillac Pat to a life of loneliness.
But it is just, it's only legendary because it's such a waste of human life, really, that we all like.
Do you know how many years it took him to build the Coral Castle?
It was like an absurd amount of time.
28 years.
Yeah, like he spent 28 years, and I think it was like a Forrest Gump. Like one day he just started carving a piece of coral, and then he became addicted to it. It's probably mental illness, right? And addiction.
It's a celebration of mental illness. Yeah.
Because you just became addicted to something. This happened, I saw this out in Moab. Some guy started digging a cave. And
he can't stop.
And he spent his entire life digging this cave, and it turned into a roadside attraction. And he built.
Hold on, I think that's cool.
A living room and whatever. But it was all for
How do we do this in 1 year's time?
You can't. It takes a lifetime. And
no, it takes a village. We need a village of people to help us build a cave.
And it never explains how these people dedicated their life to something that brought them no financial benefit, and so they're always
that's not you. You got to attach something to it,
Well, what did the rest of your entire life and family suffer because of this addiction to something that really is building a coral castle?
Yeah, probably. See the asterisk.
Cave.
Please see the asterisk mental illness that you mentioned earlier. Yeah, I would imagine that this guy's family. It took him 28 years to do it. Here's the really weird stuff that screams of mental illness. He refused to allow anyone to view him while he worked. A few teenagers claimed to have witnessed his work, reporting that he had caused the blocks of coral to move like hydrogen balloons. The only advanced tool that Lidsken spoke of using was perpetual motion holder, whatever that is.
He would just use a series of levers and old school block moving techniques. They have a bunch. I've seen this on my TikTok. At one time I clicked on how the Egyptians built the pyramids, and now it's in my algorithm.
Got it forever now. Yeah.
But and he may have used machinery, no one was keeping an eye on him that close, so a lot of it's a mystery, but it's seemingly for no reason. And it's not like there was a charity involved, or this was being commissioned by someone. It was just he started and never stopped. And that's what I find fascinating. It's like remember when you were a kid digging a hole at the beach, and you're just like,
I was addicted to it, yeah.
Let's see how deep I can get.
Well, once you got water, you were like, I've done it. I'm a genius,
And then you're like, can I build? How wide can I build it? And it's just you become addicted to progress, and these guys take it to a lifetime level, where it's just they start doing something and then they never stop.
It's
weird.
I got to go to this Coral Castle. I got to go to this. It's also sometimes referred to as Florida's Stonehenge.
Yeah.
In 1958, the Wild Women of Wongo used Coral Castle as the set of their Dragon God Temple. Here's the really awesome one. The lunar scenes for the 1961 film Nude on the Moon were shot at the castle. Now, here's the interesting thing about Nude on the Moon. Nude on the Moon was a 1961 science fiction nudist film co-written and co-produced by Doris Wishman and Raymond Flynn under the shared pseudonyms of O.O. Miller and Anthony Brooks. Nude on the Moon is the second of 8 nudist films produced and directed by them. While most nudist films at the time were set with a conventional nudist camp sort of setting, this was their way to get past censorship because they wanted to see what a nudist civilization would do on the moon. So they filmed it there.
That's funny.
That's crazy, right?
And then there's lots of these things around. A lot of them become roadside
Florida's
attractions.
Weird, man.
Yeah. No, but there's a lot of these things in the desert.
Desert people are crazy.
Desert people are a lot like swamp people, where they have a lot of time to build weird structures, and then there's I guess, nothing out there. So it's like, this will stand out. And then it turns into a roadside attraction. Like you're burying a bunch of Cadillacs or like building a weird
Cadillac Stonehenge or
dinosaur, for no reason. It's just like, why'd you build that? It's like, I just started one day.
It's a big wooden dinosaur.
Yeah. And then there's lots of people that like will start. I guess it's the same mentality of a puzzle or something. Like, what is that? Like, I think all humans have it where they'll get addicted to accomplishment. Even like a puzzle is a good example.
Like you, like, let's say training for like your try. Was that sort of like similar where you get addicted to the accomplishment of chipping away at the big task?
Yeah, but that's something where there's a clear defined finish to it.
Yeah.
With a lot of these things, there is no.
Yeah, it's open ended. It's like Minecraft.
Yeah,
it's actual Minecraft.
You start building it, and then you eventually die, and of course, no one is crazy enough to keep your project going because there was no reason for it to begin with. It was only you. It dies with you.
Yeah.
But then you have this thing left over.
So the concept, and there are a lot of people online that don't understand this concept. In fact, I wandered into a Reddit group. There's a Reddit group of people that don't understand the term something to do. Like, why were you doing that? It's just something to do.
Yeah,
there's a whole Reddit group of that where people are like, I don't understand. Are you kind of like that?
Yeah.
Like you're not really. You're a purposeman. You're not why are you doing that? I don't know.
Yes, I have especially in my older age. I can't do something that's seemingly frivolous or a waste of time or just to pass the time, because in my mind I'm like, well, time is finite. There's only a certain amount of it.
Why would you want to pass it?
It's super precious. It's probably the most precious thing of all humanity. No matter how rich you are, we all get the same amount of time, And so I don't want to waste any of it. I have to. Every second has to be pointed towards doing something meaningful or something.
Right.
Like I can't just I could never buy a puzzle and put it together on my. If I can convince myself.
Puzzles suck, by the way. They're just absolutely terrible.
But if I can convince myself, like, this is a form of meditation, and that's the same thing with, like, running, too. I was getting bothered by how much time it was taking, and because it just takes time to get better at it. And I was like, it seems like it's too much waste.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to waste my life running. So I got to dial that back, or because it seems like doing long distances.
I understand
for what
you're
purpose?
saying. Yeah.
Like they get at a certain point, it's diminishing returns, or at least like it is a feat to do longer distances, but it takes so much time to train for it, and like they. Like the Reddit, I can't understand someone like, I'm just doing this to pass the time, because I'm like, pass the time. That's the most. You want to hold it and do, every moment has to be meaningful.
Unless you enjoy it, which means it's fine.
Yeah.
Which is what makes it weird. We got time for one more story I pulled. I want to do this before it gets too old. This one I pulled yesterday. You probably don't know anything about this, but the question that I have for you here is a massive and gigantic why. Married Stranger Things star caught cheating on dating app. Did you hear about this?
No.
You know David Harbour, right? He's the sheriff in Stranger Things, giving the waffles to 11.
The sheriff, yeah.
According to the Daily Mail, he's married to British singer Lily Allen. Okay. You familiar with her too?
Yeah.
I like Lily Allen. I've always liked her. So I guess they just split and they're married. British singer Lily Allen supposedly got creative when trying to see if Harbour was being unfaithful. According to the Daily Mail, Allen made an account on the high-profile dating app Raya to see Harbour, who had gained global recognition for playing Jim Hopper in the Netflix science fiction show Stranger Things, was looking for other women. Through her account, she found his profile on the app and could see if he'd been active. Apparently, she was looking through here, and Lily was looking for women that were on Raya, cross-reference women that followed him on Instagram, and bingo bongo. She found basically the guys that she found everybody that he was cheating on her with. And he was just on some standard, just a regular old. It'd be like if I went and got on Plenty of Fish and I guess if Andrea tracked me down there, she made an account, went on Plenty of Fish, saw who I was linking up with. What makes this worse is, he's been gushing about her for years now, since 2020. Quote, I married a beautiful, incredible woman who I love. I've never met someone who is so deeply kind as her. I've never felt so taken care of and cared for by any other human being ever.
Now, is there any excuse other than you're cheating as to why you'd be on a dating app? As like maybe
okay, so we're trying to.
You could just say like I was curious to see if women would be interested in me. Although you're famous, like Stranger Things is a pretty big show worldwide.
That's
so
my why. There's my why right there. You're landing on it. You are so high profile. I have to immediately say why. Why would you even? What are you doing? How dumb are you? What are you doing?
It seems like a weird.
I know you like these because we like to try and figure them out.
Way to choose to cheat on your wife if you are a celebrity.
Your wife is a celebrity. Your wife is a famous pop star.
And it's the worst, like that. You would think nowadays, 2025, people have come to the realization that whatever you search, whatever profile you put up on the internet, text message, even if you delete them, there's records of them. You know what I'm saying? Like digital records, emails, they've gotten a lot of people in trouble and they've solved a lot of crimes. So like anything you do with a digital footprint, you could track back to you.
I mean, he wasn't even hiding it. I mean, according to screenshots of his profile, the 49-year-old actor listed himself as living in Atlanta, Georgia, and visiting New York, quote, closet nerd that plays tough guys on your TV. This guy just like...
So he was admitting... Did he put his real name?
Come suck my egos. Like, why?
Did he put his real name?
I don't know.
I mean, if he's mentioning that he's a movie star, or, a TV or a Netflix star...
It doesn't say if he was using his real name.
You would have to use your real name if you're claiming you're like, I'm on Stranger Things. Where you're like, what?
I play Hopper on Stranger Things. I'm cheating on my wife. Come get me.
Like, you would think that cheating is a weird thing.
It is
because for me,
so many different reasons too. Could be like it could be like a psychotic break.
I don't also understand the emotional reasons people cheat, and that's a whole different thing. Like women cheat for emotional reasons, whereas like I need this man,
and men like women cheat for emotional reasons, like me. Rhea is a dating app for super rich. The chat room is telling me.
Like when someone says like, "Oh, my husband or wife isn't showing me emotional whatever
attention,
attention. This other person is showing me some
there's an romantic
emotional void
there.
Emotion, and then that's why. But like, I only understand like I'm just horny animal. And then there was just some other female animal that I'm like, oh, I want that. And then there's like
throw a steak on the floor.
And then it could be like in my mind, I am like I can disconnect any actual me doing this to harm my wife or whatever. Like I wasn't trying to harm you. I was just an animal that wanted to bang this other animal. And I wasn't doing it because I was like, oh, I'm going to show her or whatever. I was just like, it's meaningless emotionally.
Sam's in there and she says, but
of course, that's not how it works.
Is it really cheating though they were separated? The story I have here says prior to their split. I mean, it says that this was prior to the split. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I'm still married, I mean... If I were still married to Andrea and we were having problems and it wasn't reconcilable, then I mean, I guess it's not really cheating because we're not going to get back together.
And is it prior to the public announcement of the split? Because from what I've seen, when people split up or get divorced,
especially celebrities, they keep it quiet.
But like there's a long time. This is a long time coming. Like they lived.
God, it can't be that long because they just got married in 2020. So it's like...
Well, a long time, I mean, because 6 months.
No, I know. I'm just saying, this was a quickie.
Like 6 months of you living in separate rooms and then you basically having the conversation multiple times that this isn't working. And then, at that point, you start, 5 months into it, you start a dating app. Then 6 months, you announce the split up.
Right.
This was... months in the making already, and then so it could be one of those things.
Yeah, Sam's also saying, depending on the state they got married, they may have been separated, not living together for a year before they can get a divorce. Okay.
Yeah,
There
it's also so weird that we involve the law and then it's it's a legal contract, marriages, but we still look at it as some sort of emotional contract until it's broken. And it's like this thing, I mean, it's more complicated than that. Like relationships get broken long before you separate the legal contract of it. Or like, break that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be years of you saying, like, this is never going to work. And then it's like, so you cheating, like people cheating after, a year of being separated and not announcing it. It's like, is it really cheating? You've already emotionally separated.
Correct. The part that I like, too, because it's, like, wacky and kind of crazy, is I like the fact that even me and the rest of the world, they see this. And you apply what you know about Hopper to Jim. And you go, you see what it's like a effed up emotional thing where you're like,
you only know
never do that. He saves children and he's good, right? You do that. Don't tell me you don't.
He loves
do that.
Winona Ryder.
Yeah, he loves her so much.
He fought a Demogorgon for her in Russia. He flew a crazy airplane to Russia.
My point is, I don't know anything about this man. Not a zip zero. Like literally, he could be a vile, horrible human being. I don't know about this guy.
Or the greatest guy in the world.
Yeah, he's a good hopper, though.
And then if you knew them personally, you were like, oh, yeah, their relationship was done for a while. He started a dating app to find people. It's like, there's we're just, that's what's funny about, like, getting into celebrities or people that are any influencers, business, relationship-wise, because what the hell, like, how the hell do you judge or like even make a comment on someone's relationship? We're like, I have no idea who these people are and what they've determined.
But it does make me
like.
feel better. It does make me feel better. Okay, real quick, we'll end with this because we got to get out of here. You're trapped in the elevator with all of the Stranger Things children, and you have to push one out in order to live. Which one do you push out?
Oh, the no-teeth fatso.
No.
Nobody likes him.
I was going to go Will. The one with a dickhead haircut.
Yeah, I guess there's that. Yeah,
They're both real. Push them both out.
I don't like the no-teeth fatso.
Yeah. You heard that. You're never welcome on our show, you no-teeth fatso. All right. We'll be right back. All right. We did it. The no-teeth fatso. I know where Casey's going for a name. He had a really funny name yesterday. All right.
We'll just come back and do a little bit for the last part of that, and then we'll get that done.
Hey, guys, thanks for hanging out. We will see you guys
round one.
Around one, yeah. We'll be back soon.